Hello, I'm Lax, and as seems to be the case in Modern, I will be bringing you the best Eldrazi content possible this week. This deck was played to a third place finish in the recent Magic Online PTQ by notable Star City Open competitor Andrew Tenjum. Uh, it looks awesome. I'm just gonna say that. So you see the basic same Eldrazi shell that you do all the time: Mimic, Endless One, Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher. Um, Same blue cards that people have kind of universally adopted between the red and blue lists: Drowner and Sky Spawner. But there's white in this deck. So the cool thing this deck gets is Eldrazi Displacer out of white. Eldrazi Displacer works well with Mimic. To some extent, you can flicker. I mean, some extent. You don't really want to necessarily flicker your creatures to make them uh, mimicable, I guess, because they can't attack. But you can displace her to make more Scion tokens. You can displace your opponent's Endless Ones to kill them. You can displace your opponent's Mimics or whatever to trump mirrors. You can displace your own Drowner of Hopes to make more Scions and tap things. And then there's the classic Displacer Thought-Knot Seer combo where you flicker your Thought-Knot Seer, and then you get to effectively Vendilion click them every time. So you make them draw the card first, and then you look at their cards, and then you take one of them because you get to stack the enters and leaves battlefield triggers. So that's pretty awesome. Not an unreasonable sized creature, anyways. This deck also gets to play a lot more interaction, specifically Path to Exile, which is really good against Infect and a lot of the random decks that people are playing. The one thing of note that this deck does not have a good answer to main deck is nonsense like Ensnaring Bridge, Blood Moon, those kind of cards, because of this unfortunate aspect that you cut the World Breakers from the deck. The World Breaker versus Blood Moon is not a fight you want to fight. World Breaker versus Bridge and things like that is pretty key. And a lot of other lists have moved towards those. There's Bant lists showing up on Magic Online with a similar shell. Unfortunately, you can't Eldrazi Displacer World Breaker, but I think the assumption is if you're casting World Breaker, they should be dying. So, same Eldrazi lands as normal. Less Urborgs because they're a liability in the mirror, and because you can assume your opponent might have one in the mirror to do the same thing. Same colorless lands. You want more actual white sources in them with caves over caverns because of your cyborg cards. We'll get to that in a second. And then, Flooded Strand for basics and duels. No wastes, no ghost quarters here, just straight up mana. Not really worth having a waste, I think, if you can't ghost quarter yourself for it, because pathing your own creature for it's pretty miserable. Moving to the sideboard, this is the other big reason to play white. White has the best sideboard cards in all of Modern for the most part. Okay, that's enough of that. Here we go. So, Burn, got it covered. Rest for the Weary, Worship, game. Gutshot, as always, this card's great against all the decks trying to go low. Disenchant for random nonsense. Stony Silence for affinity, thanks, try again. Rest in Peace for people who you can rest in peace, thanks, try again. And then Worship for the Mirror, it's a pretty big breaker. People are already boarding in Worship to beat Eldrazi, so why not be the Eldrazi deck that does that? So I really like the juke to white, specifically for all these cards, and because Displacer is awesome, and hopefully I get to do a lot of crazy stuff with this card tonight. That would be my goal. But basically, the other point here that I'm trying to hammer home is you're going to have to play against Eldrazi this weekend at the Star City Open in Louisville, and I'm just going to keep playing it until they tell me to stop. And I suggest, you either have to figure out how to beat the people who are going to do that, or you should be the person doing it.